just spreading a writing or something else. So for me, internationalization of Dalit literature does not mean the uh, dissemination of painful stories and social conditioning inflicted upon the Dalits and the oppressed by the Brahminical society. It is to uh, deliver love and pushing for the spacing of egalitarian and anti-caste consciousness. Looking at current scenario, in my understanding, we are thinking of internationalization of Dalit literature and Dalit studies more broadly. Uh, when there is a stagnation in writing and publishing Dalit narratives. Second, there is there is academic undesirability in doing Dalit studies. So, reading writing or something else. So, for me, and in in this line, there are few questions I can ask. What is the role of language in making of Dalit literature? Who are the people mostly engaged with the subject of this study abroad, and why so? How are we going to fit Dalit literary discourse in the world literary practices? How do we bridge the gap between rural and urban? Because Dalit literature and Dalit movement is mostly considered as a urban phenomena. Uh, to engage with these questions, and uh, how we can initiate this discussion at the international level, we have with us Yogesh Maitre, uh, who is a poet, writer, cultural critic, and also a publisher of the publisher and founder member of Panthers Publication House. He has written 3 books: The Bridge of Migration, 2017; Flowers on the Grave of Caste, that's a short story collection published in 2020; and The of Oppressor's Body and Mind. He has also translated 3 books from Marathi to English. He has also contributed to number of media portals such as Scroll, First Post, in Indian Express, EPW, Seminar, BuzzFeed, Baroda pamphlets in relation with the literature, translation, language, music, and culture. He is enormously engaging with multiplicities of Dalit literary discourse. So with this, I am again thankful to Ambedkar International Center for giving me opportunity in moderating this session. Uh, Yogesh, word to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prashant. Jai Bhim, all of you. And thank you for joining. Uh, as we said, as Prashant said, that Prashant will be moderating this session. So we will be mostly in conversation and going to have inputs from each other. So this would be the nature of this small session. When we talk about internationalization of Dalit literature, internationalization, sometimes we very naively, very innocently think about the language of, or the English language. So when we say international, so the first thing comes in your mind is like maybe America or maybe UK, so English speaking countries or the colonizers. But here, internationalization of Dalit literature, when I imagine this, like if Dalit literature has to be internationalized, which means that it should reach to each and every corner of the earth, possibly as much as I think Black literature, not only from America or Europe, but also from the African countries, or by African writers, reached to other parts of the world. Um, I don't know, like if in Kenya if or Nigeria, people are reading Dalit literature, but I'm sure that when it comes to English and translation, so we have in India we read writers or black writers from Nigeria, black writers from Kenya, not only from US or UK or the English countries. So internationalization also means like like there should be translation, like a cultural exchange at a massive level. But before it should happen, or why it should happen, or how it should happen, there is a problem to discuss that. There is a problem which we need to discuss, and that is like why it is not happening, or why it has been so difficult, despite several decades have been gone under the bridge. Now when we say literature, it's about the conscience. Uh, I like to quote two paragraphs by Baba Sahib, and that is about, like, he talks about the conscience, and he talks about the literature and its role in developing the conscience. So if we know that what is stopping us to develop conscience, so we can also see that uh, what is the problem with Dalit literature is not becoming internationalized. So there are a lot of technicalities and there are a lot of philosophical standings. So I'll be discussing both. I'll be discussing first philosophical standings, facing difficulties to be internationalized. Let me quote what Baba Sahib says in his essay called Hindus and Their Want of Social Conscience. Baba Sahib says, everyone who feels moved by deplorable condition of the untouchables begins by saying, we must do something for the untouchables. But one seldom hears any of the person interested in the problem saying, let us do something to change the Hindu. So we can see that, like, in what sense Baba Sahib was totally paradoxical and totally reasonable, as compared to Gandhi, who was who tried to make solve the who tried to solve the problem of untouchability by welfare, by the technique of welfare. But Baba Sahib wanted to eradicate that. So there is a fundamental difference. Now when we understand our approach to every to social groups, we can also understand that we can also apply these approaches in order to ask question in when we are discussing or dealing with the problems in the field of literature. Now specifically about literature, this is Baba Sahib has written very few, text on particular on literature and its important in discourse. But this paragraph, and I think in that sense, this paragraph is very much important. And it says, Baba Sahib writes, are the Hindus conscious? Do they recognize that the untouchables are a problem to them? Are they worried about it? Is it weighing on their minds? Certain obvious tests may be applied in order to ascertain the truth. One test is the volume of literature on the subject. One can take the volume of literature issued on the Negroes of America as a standard measure. One is amassed at the huge amount of printed material that exists in the United States on the subject of the Negroes. It is said that a really complete bibliography on the Negro problem would run up to several 100,000 titles. The literature is really immeasurable. This proves, as nothing else can, how much it is a problem to the whites. It has this, this is very important when he says, this proves, as nothing else can, how much it is a problem to the whites. Because if they are producing something, they want to learn, unlike caste, Hindus or the Savarnas or the Brahmins. Baba Sahib continues, it has disturbed through uh, disturbed through several generations all classes of people in America: the religious moralist, the political philosopher, the statesman, the philanthropist, the social scientist, the politician, the businessman, and the plain ordinary citizen as well. Why? What is the amount of literature on untouchable that exists in India? Not more than half a dozen pamphlets. Now, this is very interesting, and it's intellectually very stimulating a paragraph about when Baba Sahib discusses the problem of conscience, and discussing, while discussing this problem, he brings the issue of literature to the fore. Now, when we say that the problem of like the internationalization of any literature is not difficult when it is taken as a task by the class in power, you know, or the caste in power. But since we say that since we know that the people who are in power, like Brahmins or Savarnas in India, they it is not in their interest to, you know, to uh, internationalize the Dalit literature. Now, this is, I think, in these two paragraphs, we have, we get some, we witness some philosophical standings, which make us, which help us understand, if Dalit literature or any literature has to be internationalized, which means that distributed, which means that it should be disseminated across different societies. One has to first deal with the conscience of the ruling class. So now, when we say that, taking the clue of the volume of literature on untouchables, ex-untouchables, now we can use the word Dalit, or so what is the amount of literature today available on the Dalit community, and who are the producer of it? Now, I have been engaged with people who write for at least 12 years now, and I don't know, I always, through my personal personal discussions, or talking with people, like some curious anecdotes always come up. So I think, I don't remember the name of the person, but once I was talking, and they said that by publishing Dalit literature, he's talking about the state of Maharashtra, and roughly the year 1970s, the beginning of 70s, when Dalit literature started to witness a sudden boom, So the person says that by publishing and selling Dalit literature, Brahmin and Savarna Marathi publishers become rich, but it has not changed the situation of Dalit writers financially. Some of the Dalit writers, men and women, those who have written classic books, those who have written significant books, without which today, if we see that, how our conscience is built up, so it is not because of the institution we went to, it is not the colleges or the universities we went to. I think it is specifically and particularly because of the literature these people have written. That's a real anti-caste literature, and I don't think so that academics or in academia or Indian academia has that caliber to honestly, address the issue of caste and write such a, honest, produce such honest narratives around the, the problem of caste. Because Indian academia study caste as something, a system, something, a social thing, but it has never addressed, or majorly it has never addressed caste as a problem, you know. And uh, another thing we see here is that whatever the Dalit literature has been produced so far and translated in English or any other European languages. So I know the couple of the other countries, other like non-English countries, where Dalit literature is being read, but at a, in a very less quantity. So every all, I mean, if you find, except vernacular publishers, the publishers who publish in, let us say, Marathi, Dalit publisher who publish in Marathi, or uh, in their respective native languages like Tamil, or maybe Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, or maybe Hindi, Gujarati. And so since they are vernaculars, so their literature is mostly restricted by the lack of translation activities. I mean, there are simply no translation activities. Now an upper caste or Savarna publisher take it up to himself or herself, basic to translate something, Dalit literature, when it is famous, when they think that it is according to their standard, when they see a kind of a financial value into that, they do not publish, majority of Dalit literature which is existed. They do not publish Dalit literature which is timely and contemporary. They publish Dalit literature in translation which is something either contemporarily very popular, so that it can fetch them some money or revenue, or either it's a old classic which is already popular and which has some prospectus to be, to be translated and to be sold, in European or in English countries. So that is one problem, that why internationalization of Dalit literature is not happening, because the gate, through which we can move to the process of internationalizing Dalit literature is closed or controlled by Brahmin Savarna publishers. Now, we also have in the past heard and saw and read the cases of Brahmins saying themselves as a Dalit publishers, and saying that they are anti-caste publishers, and this is how they started, and this is how they started making money in the name of Dalit literature. But at last, like we witness the truth, what is what. Another restrictions we have here is the problem of appropriation. So whatever the Dalit literature we have, let us say, like when Navayana asked Arundhati Roy to write introduction for annihilation of caste, which was already in distribution. Now so that whole case was also a case of appropriation, because it has introduced, it has introduced AOC, the text of AOC, to the people in a very distorted way. So I think when we say that we are publishing annotation, which means that annotation should facilitate the reader of the contemporary time who are reading something which is old. When the context have changed, when cultural context, when vocabularies have changed, annotation needs to provide that that clarity to the contemporary reader, but it was not present in AOC was introduced by Arundhati Roy. I think another problem is that why the internet, like we are facing to make Dalit literature global is the lack of translation from our own side. Now, translation is it is something a very strenuous process. it is time consuming. It's a double work. And it is something, it's a political thing basically, because or primarily because we choose to translate what, and we choose not to translate something, or we leave something and we choose something. So in that sense, we also become, translation also becomes a political choice. So whatever we say, like let us say, in last couple of years, two classic texts, or one is autobiographical novel by Daya Pawar, Baluta, which was translated by Jerry Pinto and published by White Tiger, or sorry, Speaking Tiger. And the same publication, same publisher also published Babura Babul's When I Hide My Cars, which was again translated by Jerry Pinto. So now we can see, it's very visible for us to see that who are going to be a producer of Dalit literature. uh, I already mentioned that, are we going to keep, keep observing that process of appropriation in which Dalit writers are writing, but the fruits of their seed are going to be tasted and capitalized by the Savarnas, which means that we need to enter into publication, so that we can play the game in our own ways and according to our philosophical standings. you know I've been it's been 5 years, like I've been publishing, and it's every book consumes like not only time, but months or sometimes years of your life. But I think working with book is very satisfactory, because you present something to people, you produce something for them, which I know that was hidden or erased from them. you know so the problem of another problem of Dalit internationalization, or why it is not happening with Dalit literature, is that it is not that it is not being written, or it is not that there are no mechanism at place that it can be translated or produced, but it has been deliberately erased by the silence of a lot of uh, uh, Savarna publishers. And the another problem, which is a geopolitical or territorial problem, is that the publisher who have like who are seen as a publisher who can change the game in the publishing industry, are all big publisher, or are all Savarna publishers, and they are all sitting in Delhi. So this is also like a very weird geopolitical location they are working from. You know, I remember, like especially alone in Nagpur, on 14th of October, like when Baba Sahib has embraced Buddhism every year. Like last year it did not happen because of the COVID, but prior to that, every year people used to come, and there are hundreds of stalls, in Diksha Bhumi, and on 6th December at Chaitya. Now, I have been seeing this like these stalls from my childhood, and they are all local publishers. Majority of these publish. I mean, ever since I was interested in publishing, so I also started to read the name of the publisher, what is their address, where they are based, what kind of books they publish. So they're mostly based in Nagpur. Nobody thinks that when it comes to publishing, there are massive amount of Dalit publishers, Dalit Bahujan publishers, who are there in small city, who are producing such a massive amount of literature. But because it is a geopolitical problem of the language and the lack of translation, we do not know, like if there are publishers like this also exist. So all we know mostly is, I mean, until and unless we are very much curious, and we buy books from all kinds of publishers, so we only rely on Penguin or Harper Collin, or what is exhibited, what is advertised, or what is the kind of reviews also, uh, because there is a whole nexus, like I will publish the book, and someone whom I know or in my relation, they have connection with media, print or online, so they are going to, review it. They are going to write nice commentary on that. It is going to shoot up the sale. So they have the whole setup. Now I see it in a very different way. I mean, it these are the Savarna or Brahmin people who are in publishing, who are in publishing industry, and they are not going to do what we intend to do, or they are not going to work according to our vision. So I think it is up to us, and totally our responsibility to, I mean, when I say our, I'm addressing the people of Dalit Bahujan community whose way of life is anti-caste, essentially, in whatever way they live every day. So when we say it is our responsibility, I think I need to, we need to understand the weight, the burden of responsibility on us, when we say, because as I have already read this para by Baba Sahib, he relates the problem of conscience with the presence or absence of literature on this particular subject. Imagine there is no anti-caste literature in Maharashtra. Imagine we were just, there is no anti-caste literature. There is so I don't think so that, rather, like, despite the presence of lot of, despite the presence of constitution, laws and everything, we would have been ever able to develop this anti-caste conscience, because literature also deals with, it's not before developing the conscience, it's about the feeling, it's about the emotion, it's about our emotional education, which is very rare in India, in Indian schools or in Indian households. So I think I need to summarize, like, when I say that, I think I mentioned the philosophical standings which we need, and because of which we are not able to internationalize the Dalit literature. And there are technicalities, like there are facts that uh, publications who work especially in translation, or who are known, or from whom people buy the book, are mostly Savarnas, Brahmins. And what kind of literature they produce, people read that, and accordingly they develop, their emotions or their feelings are formed. They never deal with the caste as a problem, they deal with it as a system. So that is one thing. Another thing, if you need to do a to internationalize the Dalit literature, we need to very much focus on the role of translation. We have to take a role of translation as a discipline. I mean, Dalit community over the decades, I mean, ever since they started participating into the field of education, and they massively took part into that. They produced a lot of intellectual, like, writers. They produced like professionals, like engineer, doctors, bureaucrats, like, brilliant people. But we have rarely produced a publisher who can who can take up to the responsibility of internationalizing these, which means that they are also going to make sure that translation is also going to be a movement. Translation not only in English of all the literature, not only in English, but also in European languages and also in African languages. So we need to broaden the spectrum of our imagination when we say internationalization. Now I need to just I need to mention a small experience of mine. Last year I was working on a series called uh, Dalit uh, literature in English translation, or in a global context. So I worked with the 10 text across Indian languages, like Malayalam or Tamil, Telugu, Marathi, Hindi, Gujarati, Punjabi. No, these were the 10 books written by Dalit Bahujan writers, and it was amazing to see that across religious background, across geopolitical location, across languages, how this one community of ex-untouchables, now we know as Dalit, how their conscience is anti-caste, and from where it comes from the kind of life they live or forced to live, and it comes from the way they resist all kinds of problems, or they struggle to survive and to resist. So I think and if you count the number of Dalit the population of Dalit, which is approximately, or maybe more, approximately around 200 million in India, which is much more than few European countries combined together. But we know, most of us know about Milan Kundera, a Czech Republic writer, lived in France, but we really, and Czech Republic is a small country, so we know about them, but they don't know about us. So I think we need to think about it. We need to engage with literature, unlike before, and with lot of seriousness. We need to take it as a discipline in terms of translation, in terms of distribution, in terms of production. So I think I tried to talk about. I did not prepare very well because I was not keeping well. But I think I talked about the subject which was there. So I think Prashant, can you give your inputs, or we
Yes, yes.
can? What do you think about it?
Yeah. Thank, thanks a lot, Yogesh, for your words and why there is a need to globalize or internationalize the Dalit literature, and what could be the processes for the same. So, if we see that the discourse of uh, racism and their black movements of the black against racism, it from the beginning itself, it started to get recognition at the global level, and it has happened because black intellectuals started entering into academic power knowledge discourse, and they started to engage with their own writings and narratives, along with their own theoretical engagement, theoretical contribution. But if we see Dalit literature, which is there is a lack of doing theory itself. And when it comes when Dalit literature comes to academic discipline, in doing research, we mostly rely on the theories which are readily available to us. We do not think that we also need our theory to process uh, powerfully the discourse of Dalit studies or Dalit literature per se. So this could be a one lack which we can find in academic discussion. Gopal Guru, Vivek Kumar, and other scholars have talked about this, and people can visit their writing. Second thing, if we see that the uh, movement against caste, which started from 2001, when our activists and politicians participated in a Durban Conference 2001. The conference was named as the World Conference Against Racism. Second thing, if we see when did Baba Saheb's philosophy started to spread at international level. It was Rajubhau Kamble who initiated this discourse in internationalizing uh, Baba Saheb Ambedkar's thoughts and philosophy at world level. So he was the first to gift writings and writings of Dr. Baba Saheb to many libraries. So and then if we see that this discourse further, we see that there is a less engagement from our side when our folks go for researching Dalit studies at international academia. So and if we see the young scholars or young thinkers, they have little hesitation about the term Dalit itself. So they consider this as a degrading, and they are still in that notion of Brahminical, that Dalit Brahminical conceptualization, that Dalit means crushed and broken. But they do not see the discourse which was led by Dalit Panthers movement from 70s onwards. So that Dalit Panthers have broken this conceptualization called Dalits, and they turned that brokenness into a radicalism. And this radicalism and anti-caste consciousness we need to uh, publicize and philosophize at international levels by holding conferences, and uh, uh, also through process of translation, which Yogesh rightly pointed out. And when our authors publish book, Yogesh also rightly point on that. So the Savarna publishers and have uh, their connections in publishing, in disseminating, in managing, reviewing books, or they also have their website in reviewing and publishing their content. So we lack in that. I can give you an example. I was discussing with Unnamati Shamsundar. He was saying me that when he published that book, No Laughing Matter, it was only Yogesh from the Dalit Bahujan community who has reviewed that book. No other else has engaged with in reviewing that book. Other reviewers are all belong from the Savarna community. So uh, there also we see that we lack in reviewing and intellectualizing our discourse itself. So for me, internationalizing Dalit literature or Dalit discourse is not just we write and publish, but also we need to engage uh, with anti-caste philosophy at multiple level. So and for me, I think we need to set up a plan how we can process it further. As we see that even in a context of blacks, they also have multiple porters in publicizing and disseminating their power and knowledge discourse and their fight against race. So to fight against caste also, we need to have some kind of strategy, not just at an international level, but also at a national and regional level. So we also need to build connection at the international level. Say for instance, like there is a strong influence of anti-caste movement through literature and movement in Maharashtra. But in other parts like Gujarat or Rajasthan, we don't see much which can come up. So we need to bring those narratives and intellectuals who can contribute in this discourse. So and this is how we will to make these Dalit studies and Dalit literature as a desirable subject. So we need to uh, engage with this discourse in strategic and modern ways. So this could be my short commentary, and there are few questions with you. So there is on Facebook there is one question. So it is Mahadev Swabiman who is asking what is your opinion about Dalit writing their literature in English instead of regional languages?
Uh, can you
So
say it
I
again,
think
Prashant?
he is meaning that. So what could be one regional language in which we can disseminate this discourse at a national level? Because I think he might be thinking that not everybody reads English.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So when I'm saying that translation, so it is not from the native language, not only from native languages or the our vernacular languages or our mother tongues to the language, whether it's English or European languages. By translation, I also mean that we need to have a interstate translation process, like what is happening in Dalit literature in Kannada should be read by the people in Maharashtra. What is happening in Maharashtra should be read by the people in Kerala in their languages, right? So, because India is a multi-language country, and the linguistic has also been a part of not only the problem but also the which is associated with one's idea of identity, you know. So we also need to emphasize on how we can establish or start with the interstate dialogue among Dalit community by translating each other's uh, literature or narrative into our own mother tongues. And then also equally important is to translate them into the language of English or the European language, if there are possibilities or if there are mechanism at place. So I mean, this is how I see or look at the process of translation.
Yes. Uh, Now, if we see this engagement with Dalit literature in international academia or at global level, it is mostly Savarna who benefits from researching the Dalit literature. So and in my understanding, why they do so, they try to fit in the movement against race. So and that's how they get recognition at recognition level. So that this mindset we need to break in doing anti caste movement at international level. So and I think that process is initiated, and hopefully we will see its outcome soon. uh, Yogesh, there is one another question not directly related with doing Dalit literature or Dalit studies, but it is Snail who is asking, isn't celebrating Dalit History Month is copying from Black history and comparing Black Lives Matter with our history? Is it problematic?
Okay, so we cannot be original all the time. We learn from each other sometime, and if like blacks are also historically persecuted communities, they have their own ways of course, like we have a history which is very distinguished from them, but the element of pain and the element of being persecuted by the whites or by the brahminical society or the caste societies, you know is all it's there, we all, like whether it's black or maybe a Dalit, they know that how does it feel to be, to be surveilled by the cruel eyes of all these people, under which we feel ourselves bounded to act freely, once our identity is revealed. So Dalit History Month is it's I think it's been last 4 or 5 years I've been seeing that. Of course, like we have been celebrating the birth anniversary of Baba Saheb or Fule's anniversary, or a lot of our anti-caste or Dalit Bahujan leaders, writers, you know, and revolutionaries, social revolutionaries. There is nothing wrong in celebrating our culture. Now, when we say that there is a whole set of month, like let us say, because the history of Dalit community across India has culminated, culminated and reached to the peak where assertion was fully, reasonably, logically, and with love and compassion has been made, where justice, as Baba Sahib said, that the idea of justice is not only for the minority, majority, but it is also for the minority. So he was in favor of justice and liberty for everybody. Now the people who always are privileged, if they enslave or discriminate people, it is their problem. But the month of April is the culmination of all this element into anti-caste anti-caste culture in India across several centuries. So I think copying something which is good is not bad, you know. Just because they are black and we have a different history and different location, different culture, or we have difference, it doesn't mean that we cannot come, or we cannot equate at some point or on some particular things. So I think it is, and we all the time we learn from each other, right? So I in my personal opinion do not sometime do not see like the problem in copying. If you are copying for if you are copying, if our vision is clear, if our vision is anti-caste, and if we are learning from the historically socially persecuted from communities across the world, then I don't think so that that learning is problematic.
Yeah, thank you, Yogesh, for putting your words in answering this question. There is another question, and we can take one more question after this. What is This is anonymous. What is the requirement in terms of skills to get into translation? Are there any other academic qualifications required? Where to source such literature? What are the legalities involved in translating?
Okay, so I think I mean I can say from my experience that you don't require any great skill in translation. Just begin with that. I think most of the people who are Indians, I mean India, like this in this country, they know two languages. So and I think we read two languages, we speak two languages, which means that there is a certain amount of thinking process which we can do or establish in both the languages. So there is no great or like different skills or some super natural skills you need to get into translation. Just begin with that. You will learn as you go along the way. And I myself never been to any translation course or anything. I just began with that. I just started doing that. I learned, I did mistakes. People brought my mistakes to my attention, and it is a process. We are learning, so it is a good thing. So I started learning. I also learning from those mistakes, and also if there are appreciations, so it boosts our morale. We know that we are going good. So all these things, just begin with this. Rest will follow.
So one of the problem in translation in Dalit translation of Dalit literature itself, if we see that the process of translation, we also rely the theory and methodology which mainstream translation studies or mainstream translator scholars in mainstream academia have contributed to that. So mostly we rely on that. I wrote my piece on Dalit writing and translation itself in Seminar magazine in February 2020. So and it was an attempt to say that there is a lack of Dalit words which comes from the Dalit word in mainstream English vocabulary. So when we translate Dalit literature, we need to build our own vocabulary to do a justice to translation itself or to translating certain kind of text. So and that we should not miss. So it is a responsibility on us Dalit writers and translators to do justice with the texts which are available to us in regional languages. Second second question, Yogesh, would be why we are lagging in internationalizing Dalit studies or Dalit literature. It is also there is a less support from the Black intellectual itself. So how are they engaging with Dalit studies? If we see the Dalit movement or the Dalit literature uh, in the writings of Dalit intellectual, it is always uh, black black consciousness or black resistance movements comes in their writing. But if we see vice versa in black writing, we do not see much engagement from the black intellectuals, and this could be one of the way if black intellectuals or other marginalized communities from abroad engage with doing Dalit studies. AIC is asking what role does Dalit literature play for collective identity?
Okay,
And this is
so
the last question, and then we can summarize.
yeah, so
We can end this session.
I have mentioned that it was very amazing for me when I was working on that series called Dalit Literature and Global Context. When I see a poem of a Marathi writer and poem of a Punjabi writer, of course I read them in English translation, and when I read that, I find the similarity in perception, similarity of also expression, how things are said, how things are expressed, the element of love, the compassion, also the element of resistance, whenever it is required. So I think when we say that the role of Dalit literature in building collective identity is crucial, because it will introduce us to each other, our own people of our own community, from the various languages which we can't speak or which we haven't read so far. So I think that when we say Dalit literature, it also comes with the Dalit literature and translation plays a very crucial role for collective identity, because it opens up the dialogue between two people who have different languages and who have never spoken to each other, in one language. So I think that is the role of Dalit literature and the translation in collecting, for forming or constructing collective identity.
Last question, Yogesh. There is this question from Nikhil Verma. He is asking, my question is, what are the challenges you face at the beginning of your Panther Paw publication, and how you reach at international audiences?
See, I just began with translating Javi Pawar's book, and when I saw that there is no, like no publisher who wants to, interested into that, so I just started exploring that how we can publish this book by ourselves. So it was a matter of learning. It is still a matter of learning. I'm learning new things every day, almost every day. So But when it comes to reaching to the international audience, like I don't know, like when people talk about the people are skeptical about which are like critical views. Basically, people are skeptical about technology and Facebook and Instagram and everything. But I, as a Dalit, I did not have any resources so far, you know. So for me, it's a humble beginning to share something about book on Facebook or on Instagram. So some people might from US or Canada or maybe Bangladesh, you know, they can simply ask like if you can deliver the book. So I was like, yeah, of course I can deliver the book. You know, send me the address. These are the details for the payment you can make. So it was amazing for me to, you know, like when people from other countries buying our book and the book is successfully reached to them. So it's an amazing feeling. So this was not possible for me if there was I'm not praising, but this was not possible for me if there are no platforms like Facebook or Instagram or you know all these you know social media basically. So I think it helps. Like I mean, if the people, the class in power or the powerful class are always is always skeptical about something which is being popular. You know, this TikTok has been banned. There was a reason why it was banned. You know, people needed no one to express themselves. They were becoming free, and they were becoming free to express the way they want, how they want, and they were being popularized. So it was a threat for someone else's market. It was a threat for the market of the people who are Brahmin or Savarna. So we can see the connection in terms of you know all these things. But of course, like we are not in praise of it, but we are using it, whatever the mechanism we have in you know in at our disposal. So we are going to use it for our vision.
Yes. So social media really does help in connecting with people. Uh, uh, and we also need to see Baba Saheb as our inspiration. And Baba Saheb very well was aware about it, that there is no mainstream media will publish their Dalit discourse or the pain which the Dalit community go through. So Baba Saheb started his own newspapers, and so and I think we need to constantly engage with Baba Saheb's thoughts and writing, and and that is our inspiration. Again and again, I'm saying there is a lot to learn from Baba Saheb, and how we can strategize our movement, writing, and anti-caste consciousness. So AIC will definitely help in this engagement with us, and that is why they have started authors lab. So they currently they are also accepting submissions from Dalit Bahujan community writers, monograph book proposals, and if that book proposal is converted into a book, they will also offered a prize worth of USD $500 each. They will be also mentored by acclaimed scholars such as Sujata Gidla and Gaurav Pathania. And uh, thank you so much, Yogesh, for engaging with this discussion. Hopefully, there will be a number of people who here onwards will try to engage with doing Dalit studies and Dalit literature through translation, reviewing the books, and looking at their various kind of regional discourse in Dalit literature which is available to us. So with this, again, I am thankful to authors AIC and authors lab for giving me an opportunity to moderate this session, and I am also thankful to the participants who were uh, carefully listening to us and giving the time and effort. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
all. Thank you, Prashant.
On
Thank you.
behalf,
Jai Bhim to all of you.